Welcome to Balancing the Ledger, where tech and finance intersect. I'm Jeff Roberts.
And I'm Jen Viechner.
And today we're delighted to welcome Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, CEO and President of Gemini. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
You've made a big splash in New York this week. Taxi ads, a bus, a big marketing campaign to, what's it called? Revolution Needs Rules?
That's correct. It's our first marketing campaign ever, and it coincides with the launch of our mobile app. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, tell us a little more about the campaign.
So we're in New York only. That's where we're headquartered. And the idea is that companies who build on top of things like Bitcoin should have regulation that's thoughtful, that doesn't stifle innovation. So that's kind of the message. And a lot of people believe in the dream of crypto, but they just don't know how to engage in it without getting burned. And we're here to say that Gemini is a place you can do that.
So who's the audience exactly? Are you targeting retail Bitcoin buyers or companies or regulators or everyone?
Pretty much everybody, yeah, that's right. And the people who want the same protections when they deal in crypto as they do if they open up a bank account or they trade a security like a share of Apple. We're trying to say that we have the same standards of licensing, compliance, safeguards, and consumer protections at Gemini as you would be afforded in other financial markets.
You have slogans like crypto without chaos, and you're talking about a revolution. I mean, were you noticing problems, or something that was different about you versus other companies, problems that you were trying to solve or ways that you thought you could differentiate here?
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately there's still a perception that the crypto is a bit of a wild, wild west. And I think the crypto we haven't done ourselves too many favors historically. There's been Silk Road, and that took years to get out of the headlines. You couldn't read an article without reading something about illicit activity and this idea that Bitcoin was truly anonymous, which it's not. And it's taken years to sort of shake that image. But there are places like Gemini that are doing, building in a regulated fashion. We're a New York trust company, which is one of the oldest licensing frameworks in the world. And we have the safeguards and protections that any financial institution has. So getting people aware of that aspect.
Is part of the problem, though, you want rules like regulations, but I mean, I know Jen's broke a couple stories on the state of the New York regulators and the BIT license, which frankly seems to be a boondoggle. Is it possible that regulators are part of your problem as well?
So from what
we don't think so.
Yeah, they're actually the reason we have a business, because without a license, you can't get a banking relationship and you can't accept deposits of fiat, so you can't start your company. So we think that regulation has been a big boon to New York. It's brought in a lot of companies. Gemini is a New York company, not for any other reason, but because there is a licensing framework and we could become a trust company. We would have gone to Alaska if that was possible, but it wasn't. So we chose New York. So we think regulation has been a big win for New York State.
Are you calling for more regulations, or what other kinds of rules or guidance would you like to see from the SEC and other regulators?
Well, I think the idea is thoughtful regulation. So we've been working on the Virtual Commodity Association, which is an SRO to help self-police virtual commodity marketplaces and bring best practices from the equities world and the derivatives world into the crypto world. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just taking these safeguards and protections and bringing them into the world of crypto. So that's the idea there.
Yeah, and this marketing campaign coincides with the launch of with the Gemini mobile app. So we're really excited to extend the trusted Gemini platform into the palm of your hand. To date, you could only use Gemini on the web, have a computer, but now you can do it on a mobile device for both Apple and Android. And so our messaging is to the user who's heard about cryptocurrency but doesn't know how to engage with it. We've also extended Gemini to mobile phones, which is another access point, which is really important for millennials and a lot of people who actually, their phone is their computer and their computer is their phone. They don't have a phone and a laptop.
Your app was a bit late, but I know you guys have really sort of done it buttoned down the whole way, and it appears very secure, and I've used it, it's very clean. But it seems you have a lot of competitors out there, Coinbase, Circle, even Robinhood's coming in. So what's the adoption been like? Has been people trying out your app? Or?
Yeah, it's been great adoption. Late's sort of a relative term. We felt we needed to build trust in this asset class. I think this asset class needs to continue to build trust. And the best way we thought to do that when we started this 5 years ago in the wake of Mt. Gox was to build a New York trust company and start with an institutional focus. And now we continue to move and extend the platform more to the Main Street user. But we're happy with the way we've sequenced that.
You have been working towards getting a Bitcoin ETF, or exchange traded fund, which so far has not been approved by the SEC, but it would be the first, or could be the first Bitcoin ETF out there. I guess what's the status of that effort now? I mean, do you think that's something that we may see this year?
Hard to predict when, but we're still very committed to that process. We started about 6 years ago, and we're going to see it through. And if it takes us another 6 years, so be it. But we understand the Commission's concerns. We've heard them loud and clear. And they're basically calling for more market surveillance and protections in the marketplace to avoid, prevent against manipulative behavior and stuff like that. So Gemini has built a market surveillance team. We have a program in place. We monitor our marketplace. And then as I mentioned before, we're also working on the Virtual Commodity Association and SRO to get other exchanges into the fold so that we can share information together and really build integrity into the marketplace. That's the main concern with an ETF product. We get the Commission being conservative on that. That makes a lot of sense because this will be the first of many products of its kind. So we've got to get it right. So we're willing to accept the fact that we've got to do our homework.
Do you have an application pending right now?
We do not.
Okay.
My understanding of the SEC decision, though, is sort of two objections. One, security, which I think a lot of people are question a little bit because your Gemini's always been pretty tight from a security perspective. But the other one was liquidity. They were sort of saying this is too thinly traded, too easy to manipulate. So have you guys, and I've heard from other players who want the ETF too, the entire crypto community wants ETF because the retail people will come in. But to make that happen, have you guys thought about banding together with some other exchanges to perhaps create an ETF product that had a higher trading volume?
We have not, and we think our marketplace is quite liquid, but I think that the larger concern is really that it's a very nascent derivatives market, so that needs to kind of grow to help improve the market price discovery. But it also goes back to marketplace surveillance. That's really the key, bringing the tools and the surveillance and monitoring in the equities market that the Commission is very familiar with to virtual currency marketplaces and enough. Gemini can't be doing it by ourselves. We're doing our part. We're building that. We've deployed the tools. We're using NASDAQ Smart Surveillance, but we can't do it ourselves. We need other people to join us in this effort to help police. The same reason why one bank following compliance standards for BSA anti-money laundering, that doesn't solve the global picture. Everybody's got to play their part.
But you think it's going to be the industry, the companies themselves, whose responsibility it is to do that surveillance, as opposed to asking the SEC or another regulator to do it?
Well, the key is rules-based markets. And so if somebody has a market and the goalpost is moving and someone else has a market with a fixed goalpost, that's not a healthy market with integrity. So we need to bring best practices and employ them across the marketplaces. And part of it may come from the regulators, but part of it may come from the community people like Gemini who say, hey, we're joining the VCA, we're going to work and stand this organization up. And it's similar to FINRA in the securities world or the NFA, the National Futures Association in the derivatives world. So there's a precedent for SRO, self-regulatory organizations, where market participants band together to self-police and regulate the markets, which protects the consumers.
I'd like to look forward a little bit. Since sort of the bubbles popped, we're seeing some green shoots, and one of them is stable coins. I think the Gemini stable coins got some traction. Do you want to sort of explain the appeal of that? I mean, why hold a stable coin?
Yeah, the idea with the Gemini dollar is that we've brought dollars onto the blockchain. So dollars are pretty good use of payment to buy things. When you buy things with Bitcoin, you could be overpaying, underpaying, depending on how much the price rises or falls.
And we've overpaid for things before.
Yeah, we've made that mistake. The Bitcoin pizza was bought for 10,000 Bitcoin, which was $20, 8 years ago, and now it's like a $50 million pizza. So you don't want to make
very
that
good
mistake.
pizza.
So the Gemini dollar allows you to buy things and spend things in cryptocurrency without worrying about that volatility risk of overpaying and underpaying.
But do you mean just buying other cryptos, or do you mean buying
you can buy other cryptos, you can take it to other exchanges and trade. You can also use it for decentralized applications. If someone creates Uber on the blockchain, then all of a sudden you can interact and hire someone to pick you up and pay, and it's just a currency for cryptocurrency. And a lot of the cryptocurrencies we've known historically, like Bitcoin or even ICOs, they don't really make for good currency. You don't go to Starbucks and bring a bar of gold in and pay for your coffee. You bring dollars in. And so we brought dollars onto the blockchain with the Gemini dollar so that you can actually buy your cup of coffee now with cryptocurrency.
Do you think Gemini might ever consider diversifying beyond cryptocurrency into other assets like the stock market or more traditional things?
We've definitely thought about it, and we continue to think about it. I think crypto-native tokens will probably always be a Gemini thing, but we do virtual commodities today, so Bitcoin and forks of Bitcoin, they fall under the legal framework of a virtual commodity, but virtual security tokens is a real thing, and those backed by sort of real assets. I think there's a bright future there. So we may move into that, but straight up equities, probably not anytime soon.
And so with security tokens, I've been very interested in those too. Real estate seems to be the one at the forefront. Is that what you're envisioning, or rare collectibles, or what will be the first Gemini security token?
Seems like a really interesting use case, like tokenizing a real asset. The ICO mania in 2017, we kind of viewed that as the pets.com of the security token world. They were unregistered, and there's all this it was crazy town for about 6 months there. But I think the next wave, we'll see the real innovation and the really interesting assets that become tokenized, like real estate, like buildings that are not currently really traded in a liquid fashion. So that's pretty exciting.
And the Gemini dollar stablecoin can be used to pay dividends for the REITs or any of the cash flow. We're very proud of the product. We're a regulated product, one of the few ones out there. And the dollars that back the Gemini dollars, they sit in an account at State Street, and we've been very transparent about who our banking partner is. So that gives us great capacity. It's not a small bank with concentration risk. It's in the US. You know who it is. And so that's a large piece of the puzzle of the stablecoin. It's a trust problem, and we're pretty good at selling and building trust, and hence Gemini Trust Company, and the stablecoin is an extension of that.
And it's important to note, I think something like 60 or 70% of $100 bills are outside the US. They're in places where people really need currency alternatives to what their local currency is. So we could see a demand for Gemini dollars in the virtual world like that.
You previously said that you think Bitcoin could hit $320,000. It's a little under $4,000 today. I mean, do you still think that's a possibility?
Well, I'm
Our
not sure
thesis has not changed
Yeah.
in terms of we think Bitcoin is a digital gold, and we think it's better at being gold than gold is. The only thing that gold has on Bitcoin is a 3,000-year head start. But in terms of the properties of gold, divisibility, fungibility, scarcity, Bitcoin's actually fixed, gold is scarce. Bitcoin's way more portable. We believe that if you believe in that thesis that Bitcoin is a better gold that will eventually disrupt gold. Gold is a $7 trillion market. I think today Bitcoin is in the $100 billion zone. So long term, we believe in that.
People have often described the two of you as the biggest Bitcoin owners in the world. Is that in fact true?
It's not. Satoshi probably has more.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
apparently
Other than
Satoshi has a lot. I don't know.
So it's Satoshi Cameron Tyler, or Satoshi Tyler
possible.
Cameron?
I come before him. Come on.
Thanks so much, you guys, for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I'm Jeff Roberts.
And I'm Jen Viechner, and for more Balancing the Ledger, come to fortune.com.
See you next time.